Here we are, MMA UK News, Stoomboy, as always, here with, who have we got? Who's this wee guy?
The goat Blair Hamilton, mate.
The goat Blair Hamilton.
Outside my gym, I think you can kick a boot here, man.
So, yeah, so, before we were rudely interrupted by this wee guy, so, Stoomboy, MMA UK BJJ show, going to be talking about Holytown Havoc 3 now. Holytown Havoc 3 is going to be at the General Motors Social Club in Holytown. Now, there's no tickets available for this at all. These sold out very quickly, just like the previous two shows. They all sold out. So again, it promised to be another amazing event put on by Bad Guy Promotions. So Chris Bungard and the team at Bad Guy Promotions. Now, some awesome matchups, some really awesome matchups are going to be on display. Again, we're lucky in Scotland. We've got some unbelievable talent across all ages, across all experiences and all that kind of stuff. So, and we're going to see some of them on Saturday. So that's this Saturday, the 12th of August. Now, my next guest is going to be one of them people on the show. So we've got the Duchess, Caroline Plumley, Aberdeen Combat Centre. So Caroline's obviously one of these people that I love seeing out there because it makes no difference what it is. It could be fucking jiu-jitsu, it could be wrestling, it could be MMA, whatever. I made a joke. I said if there was combat chess, Caroline would be the first person signed up for it. So it's going to be great to see Caroline step out at the Holytown cage this Saturday. So Caroline, absolute pleasure as always. How you doing?
Good. Absolutely looking forward to it. I've got to admit, I didn't actually know there was a place called Holytown. It wasn't until we actually Googled where we were going. It was like, oh my God, there's an actual place called. I thought it was just the name of the promotion. So
yeah, Holytown, yeah. We village just outside Motherwell. So, so it's a nice place. Well, it's a nice place. So,
stick with that before you get yourself into trouble.
Yeah, that's true. Bungie will be on the fucking phone to me shortly saying, what you saying about Holytown? So, but it's nice, good Celtic place. Do you know what I mean? So, Caroline will not like that. Caroline will not like that. You'll need to hide them tattoos.
Why?
Have you not got stars on your arm?
Oh, is that? Oh, yeah, I do. Is it a Rangers place? Is it?
You've got how many stars? You got 5 stars on your arm?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that something else that I don't know about?
That's a Rangers thing here in Glasgow.
Oh, okay. So I need to tape everything up before I go in.
So they're going to love you in Holytown, Caroline. They're going to love you. So, how's everything going? We missed you at the National Masters Open, but.
Oh, do you know what? I was meant to be competing at Grappling Industries down in Birmingham.
Yeah.
But I actually got promoted the week before.
Purple belt now, yes.
So my division changed and I had to put myself up to purple, which meant no competitors whatsoever. Which is what it is, but I mean the blue belt division, blue belts for ladies, is actually getting really quite good, quite busy, which is awesome. But there was only 3 women had registered. The other 2 were 3 or 4 weight categories above me. Also, my daughter was signed up, and there was nobody for her, so we just decided to cancel it. So the whole time, I hadn't even thought about the old people. The old people's rolling. And then when it came to it, it was the Sunday morning, and I think it was your post that went up.
Yeah.
And by that time, I'd already sort of planned something else I hadn't realised. So yeah. Was everybody taped up, white, lots of white?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, it was good. It was good. A lot of good people, a lot of good belts. Saw there were a couple of white belts. Matt Holland came down for it. Do you know what I mean? So obviously Erin was down.
She didn't even tell me she was going. If she'd have said she was going, I would have remembered. But she was like, "Oh, I didn't actually decide till like an hour before, and we decided to just head up." Or I would have nipped in past. But
yeah. She asked me for a role, and I'm obviously the first thing I was like, "Are you okay? Is your knee okay? What knee is it?" Because I'm like, right, okay. She's like, "This knee," and I was like, "Right, I'm going straight for that knee." So, but it was good. It was good seeing everybody. Obviously, people I'd not seen in a while. some people I haven't even trained with, like Craig Guthrie and stuff like that. Never,
You've trained with him before.
never trained with him. I've known him for years, obviously through the scene. Never ever got a roll with him. Then I rolled with him and I'm like, yeah, I'll probably never roll with him again in a while, man, because he's a fucking animal. He's an animal. So I was like, right, that's why I've not rolled with him in a while. That's why I've not rolled with him at all. So, but it was good experience.
Lots of pressure. Yeah.
Yeah. His pressure was crazy, but I'd known that through watching him, SGI, local comps and stuff like that, and always seen his game and always with that. It would be a good. I would enjoy that role, that type of role, and I did. Do you know what I mean? I rolled with him, and he's a fucking strong, heavy boy.
Good thing is as well, he likes competing. The only issue is he works offshore, so often when the comps that we've signed up for offshore, and then if there is one and he's onshore, but it's like he gets onshore on the Thursday, and if the comp's the Saturday. Yeah. We live in Aberdeen. Often the weather here doesn't let them onshore when they're told. So he's sort of only got certain points where he can come. But no, he's another one that loves competing, loves getting out there.
Yeah, go on. Definitely up for the old people. So, but it's been good. I mean, these national masters, they've been well turned out. I mean, they have been well turned out. I mean, I think the most we've seen was about 30 something. Turned up for an open mat, which is more than the adult open mats when we had the adult ones. So, and then Arizona was there as well. I'm like, Arizona, why have you not got a gi? And she's like, oh, I'm just in doing a PT. I'm like, yeah.
Gi was hanging up. She's had the gi on a few times.
Yeah.
She's been back in the gi, but I mean, she had surgery on her back. Just getting back into the swing of things properly from that. So I think she's hoping to do an MMA fight, all going well. But it's just a case of building up very, very slowly. But no, she's been back in the gi.
It's good. It was good to see her. As I said, good to see her. Good to see her enjoying jiu-jitsu, enjoying combat sports again. So, and she's definitely a character. I mean, obviously I've got her on Instagram and she's talking about fucking mushrooms and do you know what I mean? Which mushrooms are the best mushrooms? So, and it's not a cooking show she's talking about. It's definitely not a cooking show. So, what about you then? Obviously, training-wise, I mean, you train all the time. You're out there competing all the time, as you mentioned. How's training going for you at the moment?
Really good. Obviously, usually the tiniest person on the mat, but we've got quite a lot of new people that have been sticking, which is quite good. And thankfully for me, we've got quite a few smaller guys. Yeah. So rather than just me permanently being smashed in a corner, I've got some guys that are similar weights to me. So no, training's been really good. Yeah. But the guns come with fighting the bigger blokes, don't they?
Yeah. And it's a good setup you've got, Aberdeen Combat Centre. That's the first time I'd been. And I was surprised. Obviously, we came in, obviously, the match, you had the ring and so on in there as well. Obviously, the punch bags, the weights and so on. And it looked like a really, really good setup. And it's funny as well because you've got that big mirror, right? So you can be rolling, you can be looking at yourself in the mirror as you're choking a poor white belt or a poor blue belt or something.
Wink at yourself in the mirror as you're choking somebody out. But funny enough,
really nice gym. Really, really nice gym.
Yeah, and there's the two rooms as well. So we've often got two classes going on. The only thing is, like most people are probably finding, ventilation sucks. And it was basically a paddling pool tonight after MMA. It was just a slip and slide. That's I mean, everybody's in the same situation with a lot of these gyms that are like converted garages, no windows. And yeah, we actually came in. I wasn't in for the MMA tonight, but I did come in for the jits, and the guys were all sitting, and everywhere they were sitting, there was like a paddling pool. And it's like, right, I don't actually know where to stand here because I'm literally standing in liquid testosterone.
Yeah. But that's a good thing. I mean, that's the good thing. I mean, I know, and again, you've been around for a while as well, but we've trained in some horrible places. Do you know what I mean? Not horrible places. What I mean is some horrible like gym setups, right? And maybe not horrible. It's just, I don't know how you would put it. I'm probably saying this wrong. I'm going to get into trouble here. But we've trained in some places where you're like, wow, man. Do you know what I mean? Like mats. I remember training Majid Gilani, right? Had a gym in a fucking roller skate, no, like a roller rama. It was called. It was like a roller skating disco, right? And he had a room. Yeah, and he had this room, and then he had these fucking mats, right? It was like old judo mats, and there was like very little cushion in the mat at all. And when you were rolling, the mats would separate, and then you were on concrete, right? You're like, Madge. And then I remember rolled with Ross Cooper, and as I'm rolling with Ross, the fucking mats kept pulling away, and I'm like,
yeah, been there.
Yeah.
And you get clothes caught in them.
Yeah. And I'm like, this isn't safe, man. This is not safe.
And then there's, the jigsaw mats, like so the blue and yellow and that. And your like face is being mushed into them, and there's one of the bits come out, and you can see it's full of pubes. And you're just sort of looking at it like, oh man. But there was one of the MMA shows that we did. I won't mention names, but in the back room they had mats, and we were all sort of just looking at the mats like, I don't actually want to take my shoes off. So I had the great idea, right? We'll flip them over; they'll be better on the other side. Oh man, it was just. Do you know when you were just like, right, we're just going to have to warm up on this? Yeah. Should we try the carpet? And then you look at the carpet and you're like, don't think about it. And then everybody that actually, when we were watching, everybody that stepped in the cage, you were looking at the soles of their feet, and it was like,
no, I've seen that at a few events. Some black feet. Do you know what I mean? Black feet. So. And just thinking, man, come on, do you know what I mean? Like, we all know the rules. We all win gyms, and that's the rules in gyms. Like, if you're wandering about off the mat, you've got, like, whether it be shoes or trainers or like flip-flops or whatever, sliders, Crocs or whatever anybody's wearing. But I've seen some horrible feet at MMA shows. Do you know what I mean? Some horrible feet.
The thing that baffles my little brain is that obviously we don't wear our shoes on the mat.
Yeah.
No shoes on the mat, barefoot or clean wrestling boots or whatever it is. Why are people allowed to step in the cage with shoes on?
That's true, yeah. That's true. Aye.
That just, that's where we're all, and we're face down and whatever it is else, and we're rolling around. But anybody that walks into that cage, whether it's the commentator or the fighter's team or the doctor or whoever it is, they've still got their shoes on.
Referee as well.
Yeah, they've still got their shoes on. I don't know if that's just somehow your feet are clean going into the cage because it's not the mats, but that one has always sort of baffled my brain.
Yeah. Now you're right, because you're not allowed to do that in the gym.
No.
You're not allowed to go in a cage or in a ring with shoes on in a gym. But that's a good point. It's never really something I've thought about.
Yeah.
Carver, you think of some crazy shit, man. Like, why are they coming in the cage with shoes on?
This is what happens when you're an overthinker, right? So you're thinking about the fight that's going on, but then you can actually see their feet and the shoes it's all going on in there. That's why taking things calms that down.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. What about Holytown Havoc then? How did you find out you want to be on Holytown Havoc? Because Holytown Havoc is an awesome show. Really, really awesome show. I've been telling everybody, don't try and jump on the cage when you win, because you'll not get on the cage because the ceiling's quite low. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, don't be jumping on the cage, Caroline.
I've got to admit, win or lose, I'm usually quite a respectful person. I don't tend to jump up the cage. This ain't the UFC. It's Holytown. It's Holytown in Glasgow. Do you know what I mean? But I do understand that people like to get quite excited. But I have heard, is it in a nightclub or is it a?
It's it's a social club. It's like an old man's kind of social club. But It's nice venues. It's a
Aye.
good venue. See for, and it's very hot. See, because
I've
it's
been
packed.
told.
Yeah, it's
So
hot.
are we so it's going to be a slip and slide in the cage, is it?
Yeah. So they'll obviously do their best to clean the cage, because they do it in between rounds. Somebody will come in and wipe the cage up, and but yeah, it's very hot, and especially when you're in the cage, because the ceiling's so low. Obviously, you've got the lights shining down on the cage, so you're like right under the lights. So it's like being in a fucking sunbed. But that's what makes it so good. That's what makes it so good, and makes the atmosphere so good as well. So, but yeah, you'll be absolutely roasting when you walk out. But in saying that, I mean, you've been at some shows where you've been absolutely freezing, right?
Yeah.
So I remember Evolution of Combat in Equestrian Centre in Kilmarnock, and that was fucking freezing. Do you know what I mean? I remember fighters want to walk out to the cage with a coat on and all that, and you're like, you can't walk out with a coat on because it was so cold. Whereas Holytown's the opposite. It's
the opposite.
fucking roasting. So
I did do a wee sub only. Is it AG? No, APX. I can't remember. It's down in Liverpool for the Grapple Fest. It was to, you know, they did a tournament for under 16.
ASW.
And we got down there, and most random place to get to. And then I tend to personally, when it's grappling, I like shorts and just a sports bra. I'm not a lover of a rash guard if I can get away with it. I find I'm like this at the neck. With sports bra and shorts, the place was bloody freezing. I didn't even have a rash guard, so it was in the sort of wee gym bit, and I sort of walked out, and I'm like, apologies, people. It's bloody freezing. I should warm up soon, but this is. And of course, it was a white sports bra on to match my shorts, and it was I was just like, oh man.
yeah. Well, that's Holytown's the complete opposite. But as I said, it's good because again, people like to get warmed up and all that, but you'll get warmed up very quickly at Holytown. So
I've heard. I mean, the folk that have been on it say. I'm not sure who it was from ours that was on it. Says it's a great atmosphere because they pack them in. Quite, I'm not going to say rowdy crowd, but you know, they're getting going sort of thing, and that can sometimes make or break. Do you know what I mean? I think if you've got an atmosphere around you as well, it just makes up. Right, I've got a question here. Does it come up on yours?
Yeah. So let me bring it up. Peter Knox.
Okay, I wasn't sure. It's
just saying, Caroline, what's your thoughts on the rumoured comeback from Ronda Rousey? Is that a good thing for women's MMA in general?
Do you know what? I will admit, hands up, I am not a knower of people. I got into this late in life, not because I enjoyed watching fighting. Life gets in the way, and you do things for certain reasons. So when it comes to, I know who Ronda Rousey is. But I've got to admit, I did think that she was one for women, but then the way that she acted in her last couple of fights, I've got to admit, she went out the window for me. I think it was very disrespectful. And so her coming back, a good thing for women's MMA? I'm not sure. I just hope that if she does, it doesn't take the limelight off of people that are working their freaking butts off, and it doesn't just become the Ronda Rousey show because she's big and famous. Most of the women out there are, you know, they're making it as best they can. And I think sometimes when you bring big names, oh my God, I'm going to have a comeback, and it all becomes about their comeback. And the limelight gets pulled off. I will admit that for me, I don't actually care. As I say, I did think that she was good for women in general. But as I say, the way she acted, I don't like disrespect. I don't like it when people act like that. Not even just in this, just in general. I don't like rude people. Don't think there's any reason for being disrespectful. This is a sport that we do. And really anybody that you go up against, they have trained just as hard as you have. They have done, okay, it's shit if you lose, but just be gracious about it, you know. But then again, like we were discussing earlier, we're further on in life. A lot of that crap doesn't bother us anymore. So it's a bit different, I think, speaking to somebody my age as to maybe speaking to a 20-year-old about things that are going on.
Yeah.
She had her time. She now does entertainment.
Yeah.
Which, you know what? I mean, how old is she now?
Peter will know. I'm sure. I'm thinking Rhonda maybe mid-30s.
Okay, so
Mid-30s maybe.
she's
So,
not like past it yet, so she
nah.
technically could.
But the thing as well, she's obviously became a mum. Obviously had a baby and stuff like that. So having a kid might have settled her down a bit, certainly in regards to maybe the mentality. Don't get me wrong, mentality's probably still going to be there, but as you talk about, like the disrespect and, do you know what I mean? Certainly in the last couple of fights, do you know what I mean? So it might have changed her kind of thought process when she goes into fights. But I mean, this all came off the back of the girl. What's the girl's name? Shayna Baszler, right? Who's got a good pal on Ronda Rousey's, and they met each other in a WWE match, and I think Shayna Baszler won, and then obviously Ronda Rousey is, as far as I know, no longer in the WWE. So this is where everybody's like, okay, what's she going to do next? Is she going to come back to MMA? But I don't know. Will she come back, man? She got absolutely smashed in her last two fights. So
it would have to be some comeback.
Yeah,
oh, yeah. 36 apparently she is.
Yeah, Peter just saying 36. So yeah, yeah. I mean, if she comes back, just don't get me wrong. Would it be good? Probably, because you got probably one of the women, and again, women had been fighting for years before Ronda Rousey came along, right? But then Ronda Rousey was the reason that the UFC put women in the UFC, because before Ronda Rousey, if you remember Dana White saying women will never be in the UFC, it'll never happen, and then Ronda Rousey came along, and then he had no choice but to put women in the UFC. So, and then obviously she done what she done, and as you said, it was her time at that time. Is she going to come back and do the same thing? I mean, some of these fucking young female fighters are fucking awesome. Do you know what I mean? Like, and would absolutely run through Ronda Rousey. Do you know what I mean? Even Ronda Rousey back when she was UFC champion. Do you know what I mean? So,
well, what was that? 10? Was it 10 plus years ago?
I think it must have been. Well, was it 10? Was it as much as 10? I think it was 10 when she maybe got in, right? And then I think it was probably maybe 5-6 years ago. Again, Peter Knox will be able to remind us. So, but I'm sure it was about 5 or 6 years ago she possibly left the UFC. She had that fight with Amanda Nunes.
That's
and
right.
Amanda Nunes absolutely kicked the shit out of her, man. Beat her up badly. Holly Holm beat her up badly as well. So,
and they've both retired now, haven't they?
Yes. Well, it's Holly Holm. It's Holly Holm still. But I know Amanda Nunes definitely has. But so yeah, that's probably why Rousey's coming back, because they two are not there anymore. So you're like, right, they're gone. Let me come back.
The thing is that I'm guessing even in 5 years the game must have evolved so much. I mean, I've been training I think it's been nearly 8 years now, which in the grand scheme of things isn't that long. But even in that time, the difference that I've seen and things evolving and the game that's played, and I suppose as well, it depends who you're training with and what you're being trained. Even jiu-jitsu wise, and I'm presuming MMA wise, that there will be some gyms that are still very much traditional. Even in the gym we had, Fraser.
Yeah.
There was something that he's come back for Thailand. He's been up with us during the summer, and just a way to hold. He's like, this is a better way to do it now. And when you try it, it is. I mean, like anything, it's always going to evolve. It's always going to change. Has she evolved with it? There's so many things, but also she's made her money. What does she need to come back for?
Yeah, but it's the competition thing. I mean, look at Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor's worth what they reckon about 600 million quid. right? After he sold the company and all that kind of stuff, and he still wants to fight. Whether he'll fight again or not, then that remains to be seen. But he still wants to come out there and fight for a couple of $1 million. Do you know what I mean? So, and a couple of $1 million to me and you, we're like, fuck, I would fight anybody for a couple of million. Conor McGregor doesn't need to do that. He's got 600 million quid in the bank. Do you know what I mean? So, but
the thing is, fighters want to fight, don't they?
Yeah, it's that thing. I mean, if you're a fighter, I mean, all you want to do is compete, and you just want to keep doing it until you can't do it anymore. Do you know what I mean? So, in fact, that doesn't really exist to like me and you, because people are retiring in their early 40s and we're still going. We're still out there fighting and still kicking ass. So, so age, I don't believe in age being, oh, you should retire at this age, or you should stop doing what you're doing at this age, because you can keep going. Do you know what I mean? I just say I'm in the gym and I'm keeping up with guys half my age. You're in the gym keeping up with people half your age. So,
to be honest, I mean, I usually do 2 classes a night, and I'll do MMA and then I'll stay on for jits. After the MMA, the guys, the 20-year-olds, they're screwed. They're fucked. They can't go to jits. I'm like, right, okay, gee on, let's go. And that might have been doing aerobics or something in the morning. But your body's going to tell you. I mean, I know I don't have long left in the cage. Obviously, I came to this later in life. We know that I have a small window now, and I'm basically taking it. But I think it will show. I mean, the last fight that I did, yes, I lost, but I don't think at any point, if anybody watched that, that my age was a factor at all. That fight was extremely close. I did sort of think to myself, you know, is she the youngest that I've been up against? Was she 19, 20?
She was quite young, I'm sure she would have been,
So I've got 25 years on her. And I did wonder, right, am I going to step in here? Obviously, I'm in there to go for it, have some fun. I'm going to do my best. But I did wonder if my age might show. But then looking back on it,
definitely did not. Yeah, definitely did not.
Definitely I've got more wrinkles than she did, but my face looked like I'd had kids nagging me all day. But apart from that, you know, it will come to that point. It will come to that point where even in the gym, I would like to think that I know and the coaches will know. But right now, I will keep signing up for things, and I will keep doing things. I mean, it may get to the point where I think about doing one pro if my body will let me. It might be like in your sense, it's right, okay, let's see if I can do this. If I can, awesome. If I can't, you know, you'll find out pretty quick. Even if it's a case of I try once, or it might be a case of everybody at the gym's like Caroline, just know. But I think part of that as well is knowing your own body and also having a decent team round about you. I would like to think that, as you say, you know, I wouldn't want to think that your coach, my coach, would put us into anything that they didn't think that we can come up against. Again, the winning, the losing, I think as long as you put that fight in, that's the main thing. But if you go in there and you get smashed, and we've seen some people get smashed, that you've got to sort of think, what are the coaches doing? They actually look into this beforehand. And
well, my coach, Marcos, his words to me were, why? That was what he said to me. He's like, Stuart, I saw you looking to do it. You want to do an MMA fight? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, why? And I was like, well, Marcos, let me put it to you this way. See, when you got offered an MMA fight, what was your thought process behind it? Because he's talked to me about it, and he said he only took an MMA fight because they offered him loads of money, right? That was the only reason he did it. He was a jiu-jitsu guy. He'd never thrown a punch in his life. And he says, fuck it, let me do it. He went in, he took the guy down and submitted him, right? So, and then he said, oh, this is actually quite easy. So he went and done it again. And then I think he ended up, he's 2-2. He come up against Sergey Greco. Don't know if you know Sergey Greco. He's like is he from Poland? Very, very high level wrestler, very good MMA fighter. And obviously Marcos came up against him years ago, and then he also came up against Norman Park, the ex UFC guy from Northern Ireland. So he came up against him before he went to the UFC, and he actually got he only lost by decision against Norman Park. So, but he said he retired at 2-2. He's like, right, I've done it. That was me. So I said to him, look, why did you want to do it? And he's like, because it's something I always want to do. And I was like, well, that's why I want to do it. He's like, right, okay then, okay. So,
you know what? The thing is as well, because obviously it's mixed martial arts, you could come up against your equal.
Yeah.
So it could end up turning into pretty much a grappling match, but you can still, at the early stages, you can still end up be a grappler against a striker that's done a little bit. But when it's sort of at this stage, it can be quite a different. And plus, if you've got a striker that's okay, we've done a wee bit of grappling, you take them down, they're done for. But then obviously, if you get it the other way around, it's just swings and roundabouts. But I suppose as things have evolved, people are training MMA. So in the classes, you are getting an all round, but you often find that somebody has come from one background.
Yeah.
Boxing, Muay Thai, wrestling, and whatnot. But like we were saying before, if it's a wrestler that's done a bit of striking, they are going to want to take you to the ground. You sort of know what's coming. But again, that's down to coaches or yourself, sort of, right, okay, what have they done before? Let's have a look. And then you watch what they've done before, and then they come in the cage and do something totally freaking different. And their game plan is fucking windy, and you're screwed.
There's a couple other comments coming in. One of your biggest fans, Grace, just saying, "You go, mum." Yeah, so.
Well, it's quite funny because Grace hasn't even spelt her own last name correctly, so that's awesome.
So, but yeah, obviously Grace, you're one of your biggest fans, definitely. And then Peter Knox just saying, Caroline, you're an inspiration that others can follow. Others can follow you no matter how old we are. And you definitely are. I mean, as I said, I always talk about, because obviously I'm in the twilight years of my combat sports, certainly competing and so on.
We're going with twilight, are we?
But you're one of the people, when somebody said to me, why do you want to do MMA? And I was like, well, listen, if Caroline Plumley's getting all the fun, fuck that, I want some of that fun as well. So that's another reason why I'm like, well, fuck it, let's do it. So
that's exactly it. It should be fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I totally get people stressing out and whatnot. Everybody's different, but anxiety is part of life. Folk, it does my head in. I think too many people talk about anxiety now, where, to be quite honest, you should be nervous before you go in a fight or a competition. This is how your body copes with it. If you're not nervous, or there's not something that that your body spazzes out with before a comp, you're obviously a complete and utter psychopath. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I can quite find that I'm not exactly normal in the head. I'm guessing you're the same, getting in that cage the age you are. Yeah. Do you know what? As I say, why are they stressing out so much? Because you're literally in the safest place to do what you're doing that you can be. And I mean, I walk in and I will have a smile on my face, and I will walk out probably slightly bruised, and I will still have a smile on my face because I know I'm going to go in there fucking beast out for, it's 5 3-minute rounds, or whatever it is, a 10-minute match, whatever happens, and I am going to do my bloody best, and I'm going to fuck shit up, whatever happens. But after that, I'm going to have a smile on my face, and I'm going to 100% respect whoever was in there with me. It is just the whole atmosphere of these things is brilliant. The build up, these should be nervous in that build up.
Yeah.
I mean, my nerves, I pee about 10,000 times. But I don't think I get nervous like other people. I do it that much, and I know that let's just go have some fun.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
What's next for you? I saw you got a few things coming up. So just like Cara, I remember I think the last time we spoke, you had 3 things in 3 weeks or 4 things in 4
4.
weeks. Yeah, yeah.
I did
So
4.
so it was every single week, and I think I'd spoke to you when you were just before you were about to do the first one. So
Yeah.
and then I remember seeing you after the third one, I think it was, and you were still fucking full of energy, full ready to go for the fourth one straight away. So, well, what's next? What's coming up for you?
So I'm actually on Monday. I head to Tenerife. I'm away on holiday for a week, but I'm actually set up to train over there. Obviously, the kids are taking. My oldest has got her boyfriend, and my youngest has got a friend with her, so they can leave me alone, and I can go and train.
Yeah.
And then we've got Budo 2 weeks after that. Is that the 9th?
9th of September, yeah.
Well, ADCC came up as well. That's on the Friday. So I'd messaged and said, yeah. And you know, when you look at someone, you're like, okay, that date's ringing a bell. And then when I seen it, it was the night before. And I've got to admit, I'm like, could I do the 2 of them? And then I was like, right, Caroline, bitch slap the stupid. And right, okay. So I messaged Craig and was like, right, okay. It'll have to be next time. So I've got Budo. I did. Cal is doing Northern Submissions in Wolverhampton.
Yes.
That's on the 2nd. And I did think about putting my name in for that. But I haven't yet, but that's not saying that if something comes up. And then after that, I've got my name in for. We've been discussing this, and we're not very good at what it's called, but it's Dale's show in Montrose.
I'm sure it's Castus. One of them two.
So yeah, I'm hoping that they match me on that. So if there's any ladies going about that are MMA and you're around the 54 kilo mark, hit Dale up. I'm up for a fight.
What we'll do is we'll get it up on Female Fighter Collective.
Yeah.
So I'll message Helen and we'll get Helen to put it up and get a post up for it. Do you know what I mean? So because it'd be good. I mean, obviously to bring in like females from other places that you've maybe never came up against before. So
yeah, you know, it's I think it's good as well. I don't know how many females are on this show at the weekend. Do you know what? There has been hardly any promotion or anything for it. I'll admit, I don't really know what's going on. I've been training.
Yeah.
And then apart from that, I'm just like, right, okay, just point me in the direction. I don't actually know how many fights or if there's any other females on the shows.
Yeah. The thing is, I mean, see with Holytown Havoc, see because it sells out so quickly, right? Do you know what I mean? It's like, well, yeah, obviously, don't get me wrong, there's been a few posts went out, right? But it's like all the local fighters sell all the tickets, right? So it's like, well, do we need to do a lot of promotion? They don't really need to because the fighters do it themselves. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So the fighters do it, the fighters get the name out there, the fighters sell all the tickets, and so it's kind of difficult. Don't get me wrong. There's some shows that they need to do promotion, whereas Holytown Havoc is one of the ones that they don't at all because I mean they've sold the tickets before they've even got a fucking date. You know what I mean? So and then the next one's in Maryhill. We'll see how Maryhill does because it's no longer in Holytown, right? So we'll see how Maryhill does.
Havoc anymore.
Yeah, so I think they're calling it Maryhill Mayhem, right?
So that's quite cool.
Yeah, so that's going to be at the Maryhill Community Hall. All right, so let's hope he does something different than other shows that we've seen at Maryhill Community Centre or the Community Hall. So let's hope he does something a little bit different. But I'm sure Bungie's been about. He's been to a lot of shows, and do you know what I mean? He knows how to make a show look good, right? As you'll see on Saturday night. So yeah, doesn't need to do a lot of promotion because it sells itself. It sells
That's
itself.
it. Why waste the money or the time on it if you've already got the place filled? Awesome.
Yeah. So, but it's going to be a great night. What about you? The final thing then, Caroline. So, anybody you want to shout out to? Friends, family members. Obviously, no Grace because she can't spell her name properly.
Grace
right?
can't spell her name. I need to go and school her. Well, it's funny because Grace has got back into training, so I'm actually trying to get her a Jits sub-only match on Billy's show in November.
Yeah.
She's following in the footsteps, but unfortunately, I probably should hold my hands up. I can't spell very well either, but I can spell my own last name.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, in the Budo thing, my name's spelt wrong in that as well. So brilliant. But no, just big shout out to everybody. I also want to shout out to the freshly baked gear. It's one of my new ones that I like. It's got pretty cool stuff. But yeah, I'll have some pretty awesome shorts on as well at this one. I do like to mix it up with what I wear.
Yeah. We've seen that. We've seen a lot of different things you coming out in, and like I always love the gi stuff because I still talk about the one where you came out with the yellow gi on.
That was brilliant, wasn't it?
Oh, that was awesome! And you came out there, Kung Fu fight, the song. And that was fucking hilarious, man. I thought that's brilliant. That's an awesome gi. So.
But yeah, see, trying to find better gis. It's haven't tipped it yet. I've got a Halloween one, but really I can only wear that if there's a show around Halloween time. I get slagged off for wearing it in the mats. It's bright orange. You've got pumpkins and things all over it. But I get slagged off for that one if it's not Halloween. But yeah, no, just shout out to everybody that's coached me, everybody round about, everybody that helps me. I mean, I've actually got a heap. I got aerobics, so I've got a heap of awesome followers, my little old ladies at aerobics that are always asking how I'm doing. I mean, I turn up to aerobics class full of like mums with black eyes and bits of my body taped and stripped, and but yeah, just everybody that I know. I mean. Can't wait for Saturday. It should be awesome. As always, just let's go down, fuck shit up, and enjoy it whilst we're there.
Definitely. So guys, here we go then. The Duchess, Caroline Plumley, going to be heading to Holytown. So that's Holytown Havoc 3. That's this Saturday, the 12th of August. Now, as I said, tickets are all sold out for it. There is no tickets available for this at all. Anybody that's going to be going to the venue as well, make sure you're there early to get seats and stuff like that. I believe there's no reserved seats, so nothing's reserved, right? So it's obviously first come, first serve. So if you want to get good seats, make sure you're there as early as possible. So I think you might have some seats that are reserved, right? But the majority of it was just, it was a fucking free for all the last time when I was there. So,
were they
but it worked.
For seats?
Yeah, but it worked. So, and again, it's going to be an amazing show. I mean, a lot of great fighters are going to be on the show. Some people making debuts. Some people are continuing on amateurs. I believe there's pros on this as well. So, going to be an amazing night. So, make sure you are in attendance if you do have a ticket. Those that don't have a ticket, you just need to wait till fucking next year. Maryhill Mayhem. And again, details will be posted about that in due course. So, Caroline,
Are you going to be there?
I'm going to be there. Yeah, I'm going to be doing the post-fight interviews. So,
okay.
So it's funny because where I do the post-fight interviews, it'll probably be the same bit as the last time. So it's like a corridor, right? And it's the only corridor in and out the place, right? So I'm in the corridor trying to do interviews, and you got people walking past, and like people's friends are not coming in, and they're all in on the video, and they're like, "Yeah, fucking yes, well done, you won." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm trying to do an interview here," right? So, but yeah, I'll be there doing the interviews as always. So we'll definitely see you on Saturday night.
Awesome, absolutely awesome.
But listen, enjoy the rest of the training, and yeah, listen, have a safe trip down on Saturday. When you coming down, Saturday or Friday?
Nah, we'll be down. We'll be down Saturday because it's close. We don't really need an overnight, so we've got Damon driving us down. So if we get down in one piece, should be all right.
Yeah, well, Damon's driving. Yeah, let's hope you get here in one piece. So
You might elbow somebody in the face halfway down.
But listen, you enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll see you on Saturday. All right.
Then we'll see you on Saturday.
Take care then. Bye-bye.
Bye.